In addition to SEPA, which of course focuses very much on the completion of the payment market, we also have the payment package, which the Commission proposed in July last year. And as you will all understand, for us, that package is to be put in the same logic as the SEPA regulation, trying to make payments in Europe more efficient, more innovative, and of course, as mentioned, safe. As you know, one of the main novelties in the PSD2 is the inclusion of third-party providers into the scope of the Payment Services Directive. We think this is important. This is something which many of those TPPs actually have demanded explicitly. They wish to be covered by a good and prudential framework. By setting equal rules for new players and incumbents, we also believe that it should be easier for new entrants to come into the market. This is something which we feel very strongly about. The MIF regulation shall be in the same logic of trying to make things better. By lowering by law the interchange fees, we, of course, on the one hand, make very clear that there is legal certainty. We have clear rules rather than having to rely on competition proceedings, being at a European or at the national level. We also believe that capping these fees will translate into lower costs, not only for merchants, but also for the consumers. As you know, the legislative work is progressing very well in the European Parliament. And I'm sure that the members of Parliament present here today will set out that in further detail. And we are, of course, by the way, very grateful to our colleagues in the Parliament that they have given so much priority to these files and really are trying to take the work forward as quickly as possible. And we certainly hope that the Greek presence of the Council also will very soon start working on these texts from the point of view of the member states. So to wrap up, to not being too long, our immediate priority now is, as I mentioned, to hopefully steer the payment package towards an adoption as quickly as possible. Then looking further ahead, and as I alluded to, we think that one area which we will be looking very closely at is the area of mobile payment. For this, we need the help of the market operators. We count on all market players to continue playing a proactive role to encourage new and innovative means of payments, making it possible for new actors to enter into the market. And the Commission is certainly looking forward to following this development and provide the support we can in terms of necessary accompanying legislative measures, but of course also more generally encouraging the efforts made in this sector. I will stop there. I wish you a very successful afternoon and thank you very much for your attention.
Paulina has graciously agreed to stay for, let's say, 2 minutes. We may get a second question in, depending on how pithy we can do it, the first question. Who'd ever like to ask one? Let's please a show of hand, and then a microphone will come around to you. I know we had some people who were working on questions. Okay, well, since no one wants to be the first to put Paulina on the spot, I guess I can step in. Maybe if you could describe, Paulina, how the initiatives on payments that you've described fits within sort of the broader vision of the single market, and yeah, if you could just maybe expand on a little bit on how you see the Commission using this to get beyond sort of the crisis repair and move into the forward-looking single market agenda. Thanks.
Well, clearly, as I mentioned earlier already, we are, of course, increasingly trying to get away from the phases of taking immediate action to repair what was damaged in the financial sector and move towards a framework where we are much more focused on what can we do to continue supporting growth and competitiveness in Europe. And the payment package was part of the so-called Single Market Act, which was the communication where we set out a full range of measures where we are focusing not so much on financial sector as such, but more on what we can do to help the real economy playing its role in terms of providing jobs and growth. And I think that payments is, of course, a very crucial element in all this. All citizens, all consumers, we all do payments every day, so do companies. Where there clearly is potential in Europe is in e-commerce. We see it increasing a lot, but it's certainly something that's going to continue to increase over the next years to come. And that kind of growth we will only see if it is accompanied by efficient and safe payments means. So I think that this package kind of plays itself very, very well in this more general framework of how can Europe, how can the help to put in place the rules that the real economy needs and the citizens need.
Great. Well, if you have time for just one more urgent one, but you've already framed this debate in terms of the growth and jobs, so thanks for that. And now, for a last question before we lose Paulina, if you could just let us know who you're representing.
Yes. I'm Fernando Dada Fonseca from Unique. It's a company in Portugal. I think that it would be very useful if you could also look into the difficulties of purchases in the internet, in things like that. If I want to buy something from Amazon, I can't. Some of the things are not allowed. Yeah. And I think does not help at all what you are trying to do. Can I just add another thing? And has to do with the cost of money. See, the cost of money is quite different from country to country, and this is much more important than anything that you might consider in the payments area. Just to give an example, Deutsche Bank has stopped supporting the postal bank in Italy because they didn't want to provide money in Italy at the cost of money in Germany, and they have to be replaced by another bank. So those things seem to me much more important than some of the issues that the Commission has been concerned with. Thank you.
Thank you. On your first question, yes, you're absolutely right. This is, of course, efficiency of payment, but also linked more general to e-commerce. We did a communication last year on e-commerce in Europe and what can be done to make this market function better. We do have a directive on e-commerce, but it's already very old and it clearly needs to be updated. And I think one of the issues we are looking at there is indeed the unjustified barriers to internet shopping, and as you say, the fact that certain sites cannot be accessed from certain countries, etc. So this is very much something we are aware of, and we will continue working on. On your second point, I think this actually brings me back to the general problems we have seen in the financial sector. The fact that until we have put all the rules in place to make sure that the financial sector is a more stable place than it's been in 2008. I think that is the answer to deal with the problems of fragmentation, the problem of distrust between banks, the fact that indeed, of course, borrowing costs of certain countries are far higher than others. There is not an easy answer to that, to your question and the problem you are alluding to. But I think with everything we've been doing for the last 5 years, now including even the work underway to put in place the banking union, the result of all that should hopefully be at some point that the fragmentations that we see between different Eurozone countries and between the different banking markets will slowly disappear again, and we will be in a situation where the problem that you described actually should no longer occur. So I think this is very much work in progress, but it's clear that we are not yet fully there.